Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how to find the surface area of solid shapes, three-dimensional shapes, and we're primarily going to focus on cubes and rectangular prisms. And we are going to be using formulas today to solve it. So the surface area of a cube, that formula, is 6 times side squared. And where does that formula come from? Well, the side squared is really the area of one of the faces, right? Side times side would give that area. And since there are 6 faces in that cube, we're going to multiply that area times 6. So that's where the formula comes from. So for this cube, the side length is 7. So we're going to substitute 7 into our equation. So 6 times 7 squared. We're going to do the exponent first, right? So that's 6 times 49. And then 6 times 49 is 294. And our units, centimeters squared. The next shape we have here is a rectangular prism. That formula is a little bit different, right? So we have 2 times the length times the width. So if I label these, I'm going to kind of turn it sideways tilted and say the 18 meters is the length. This 6 meters here would be the width, and the height is 20 meters. So 2 times the length times the width, I'm going to highlight it here, represents the bottom of this rectangular prism. And since the top has the exact same area, that's why we're doubling it and multiplying it by 2. Just going to erase my highlighting for the next part of the equation and the formula. Okay, so then we have 2 times the width times the height. And the width times the height would be the right side of the box and the left side of the box. And again, since the left and right are the same, we're doubling the area and multiplying by 2. And then the last part of the formula would be 2 times the length times the height. That represents the front of the box and the identical back in the back, and again, that's why we multiply it by 2. Okay, so we're going to substitute what we know into the equation. So 2 times 18 times 6 plus 2 times 6 times 20 plus 2 times 18 times 20. All right, so we're going to type that into our calculator to find out. I'll find out the products first, and then we'll add it together. So we have 2 times 18 times 6, that's a product of 216. 2 times 6 times 20 gives a product of 240. And 2 times 18 times 20 gives a product of 720. Then we're going to add all those together, and it gives a full surface area of 1,176 meters squared. All right, the next one we have has some fractions, mixed numbers involved. Again, we're going to substitute our numbers into our formula. 7.5 is the length, 4 is the width, and 2.5 is the height. So again, the formula 2 times the length times width, plus 2 times the width times the height, plus 2 times the length times the height. And let's substitute what we know in here. 2 times 7.5 times 4 plus 2 times 4 times 2.5 plus 2 times 7.5 times 2.5. And again, I'm going to give all the products first, and then we'll add it together. So 2 times 7.5 is 15. 15 times 4 is 60. 2 times 4 is 8. And 8 times 2.5 should be 20. And then 2 times 7.5 times 2.5 is 37.5. And then we're going to add all of that up together, and it gives us a total surface area of 117.5 inches squared. We have one more example here. We're going to work one through with decimals as well. I'm going to label the 8 6/10 as the length, the 3 2/10 as the width, and the 9 6/10 as the height. Again, we're going to substitute everything into our formula 2 times length times width, plus 2 times width times height, plus 2 times length times height. So you have 2 times 8.6, and I'll put it in parentheses. I may run out of room here. Let's see. Maybe I'll use a small x. Times 3.2 plus 2 times 3.2 times 9.6 plus 2 times 8.6 times 9.6. And again, I'll give the products first and then we'll add it together. All right, so 2 times 8.6 times 3.2 is 55 and 400ths. 2 times 3.2 times 9.6 is 61 and 4400ths. And 2 times 8.6 times 9.6 is 165 and 1200ths. And then we're going to add all of that together. And that gives us a surface area of 281 and 6/10 inches squared. All right, so try it out on the worksheet and then please fill out the Google form, and I'll speak to you guys on the call. Have a good day. Bye-bye.